Thank you. I'd like to welcome all of the friends and family, and those that love and support the Oliverson family and Katie Oliverson. My name is Bishop Moser, and I have the privilege of conducting this meeting, this funeral service for Katie. A few of the individuals seated up here next to me, President Oliverson is on the stand, and President Lewis and my counselor Dustin McKay. President Oliverson presides at this meeting. I'd like to recognize and thank Nancy Griffin, our accompanist, for the music, and Harry Hogan. She will be our chorister today. We will begin this service by singing hymn 124, Be Still My Soul, after which London Oliverson will give the invocation.
Well, you're come for these days. Yeah, so that will come spirit with us today. So we celebrate Katie's Day. We are so grateful. We had a time with her. We had the lessons that she taught. We're grateful that she was a wonderful mother, sister, wife, daughter, mother-in-law to all of them. We ask that would bring us comfort. We ask that those be with Dave. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ.
Thank you, London. I'd like to announce the funeral services. We will first hear a live sketch given by Tyler and Terry Cutler. Following Tyler and Terry, Katie's daughters Natalie Devine and Kaylee Show will speak to us. Following Natalie and Kaylee, we'll have a special musical number. The grandchildren will sing to us a child's prayer. Following that musical number, we will hear from Jason Oliverson. Following Jason, we will get to hear a few special memories from Finn Devine and Crew Show. We'll proceed to that point. Tyler and Terry.
It's with deep love and remembrance that we gather to celebrate the beautiful life of Katie Oliverson, a person who love, laughter, and sense of adventure. Left a lasting mark on everyone who got to know her. Katie was born on February 15th, 1961 in Brigham City with Sidney Doyle and Jolene Connor Cutler. She grew up with her older siblings Brad and Kathy and a younger brother Tyler. From the very beginning, Katie brought a special light and a little mischief into the lives of others. Whether it was through a warm smile, an impromptu song, an infectious laugh, or a funny story, Katie had a way of making people feel happy and loved. Growing up in Fremont, Katie spent her younger years dancing, singing, watching after her baby brother, playing church sports, and living her best life with family and friends. She attended Maryville High School, where she participated in drill team and choir. Speaking to the mischievous side of Katie, there are still ongoing investigations in Fremont from the late 60s, early 70s. Most notably, who was responsible for cutting off the whiskers of the family cat. No one was ever caught, but the theory was that it was someone who aspired to become a hairdresser and barber. After high school, Katie attended Mary Kawakami School of Beauty, studying to become a hairdresser. Coincidence? I think not. During that time, she lived in Provo with her sister Kathy, and after graduation was a practicing beautician like her mother for many years. One of those jobs brought her to Logan, a move that changed her life forever. While working in Logan, a strapping young man named David Oliverson somehow happened into her apartment, saw a note from another gentleman on a dry erase board telling Katie to call a number for a good time. Dave, never lacking for confidence, wrote underneath, "For a better time, call Dave." Katie did. This encounter was not just a fortuitous happenstance, it was more than that, it was destiny. After months of dating, Dave's personality, not of this world, rugged good looks, and glorious blonde mustache proved too much for Katie to withstand, and she agreed to marry him. Little did she know the adventure that she was just embarking on. Katie and Dave were married in the spring of 1983 in the Logan LDS Temple. That date began a partnership filled with love, faith, and laughter. Not long after they married, the Oliverson household grew. Natalie was born in 1985, Kaylee in 1988, and Jason in 1993. As life unfolded, Katie devoted herself to her husband and her children and cherished the time they spent together. Katie cared deeply not only for her immediate family, but her extended family and friends. Family was at the center of Katie's world.
Together, the Oliversons made their home in Smithfield, where their home was a place where people would gather often, stories were shared freely, and no one ever left hungry or without the feeling of being cared for. To her children and later grandchildren, Katie was more than a parent or a grandparent. She was a teacher, protector, encourager, and friend. Katie found joy in the simple things in life: gardening, especially tomatoes, cooking, fishing, bunco, following kids to ball games, dances, and competitions. She taught us that love is often shown in the smallest moments. A phone call to check in, a seat saved at a table, or simply showing up when someone needed support. Even during difficult times, Katie carried remarkable strength and faith. She reminded us to laugh often, forgive quickly, and never take time with loved ones for granted. Katie found her real calling in life when she became a grandparent. She was known to her most precious treasures as Grammy. To Crew, Finn, Bodie, Brock, Rue, Cuddy, and Mateo, Grammy was a superhero. She followed their activities to infinity and beyond, and back again. And she loved it. No request was ever too much, and nothing gave Katie more satisfaction or enjoyment than being involved with all of their successes and accomplishments. Over a decade ago, Katie and Dave purchased property in Island Park, bought a fifth wheel, and created their happy place at the lake. Many days were spent on the lake fishing, and Katie became a truly accomplished angler. That was amped up over 2 years ago when Dave retired and they were able to spend even more time on the lake and designed and built their own dream cabin. It is truly a gorgeous place of refuge. They accomplished every person's dream of having a cabin on the lake. Even more of an accomplishment is the love and caring that both Dave and Katie have shown each other. They were honestly together 24/7, 7 days a week. And to all of us outsiders looking in, they never got sick of each other, which is beyond unique and truly special. Although our hearts are heavy today, we are also grateful. Grateful for the years we shared, the memories we hold, and the example Katie gave us through the way she lived and served others. The love she poured into others does not end here. It continues in every life she touched. Katie leaves behind a legacy of love and kindness that will continue to guide the love of her life, Dave, her children, and her grandchildren. Katie was the glue that held things together, the consummate mama bear. Cross one of hers, and you would most definitely see the claws and fangs. Who's going to fill those shoes? Collectively, please look to your left, and then look to your right, and then look inside yourself and make that decision today, that each one of us will take it upon ourselves to carry on her legacy. While we will miss hearing her voice and seeing her smile, we take comfort in knowing that she is celebrating in the welcoming arms of Jolene, Sid, Francine, and Glenn, and all of those who welcomed her into Heavenly Father's kingdom. Katie's family would like to thank everyone for their prayers and support and expressions of love during this difficult time. May we honor Katie by carrying forward the compassion, strength, and the love of life that she shared so freely. We love you, Katie. Say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
First, I just want to thank everybody for coming. It's amazing to see how many people love my mom, just as much as we do. My mom was not your average person. She had a way of making everyone feel loved that really can't be replicated, and something that you just don't forget. As I've been sitting and thinking about all of the memories I have of my mom this past week, and one thing I've realized is that every single one of them made me laugh before it made me cry. And I think that's exactly how my mom would have wanted it. So my hope today is that I can share some of those memories with all of you, and that we can all laugh together and remember the amazing person that my mom was and how she touched each of our lives. as I've been thinking about things, there are a few themes that kind of all of these memories rolled into, and one of them was that my mom just loved people, and I think they knew that. My mom always tried to make sure that they knew that she loved them in her own way. She was intentional. She paid attention to details. She remembered things. She showed up, and that's how she showed people that they mattered to her and that they were loved. This week, a lot of people have been reaching out to me, sending messages, sharing their own memories. I've heard from my high school friends, and all of them loved my mom. They shared memories of coming over to my house and sitting at the bar in our kitchen and just talking to my mom for hours. She made it a point to know them. She would ask questions. She really cared about their lives. They said that she didn't feel like just somebody's mom. She felt like a friend that they could tell anything to. She just wasn't my mom. She was kind of everybody's mom because my mom loved people. I think one of my favorite quirks my mom had, and another way that she showed that she loved people was through nicknames. You knew you were loved by my mom if she called you anything but your actual name. So growing up, my cousin was not Brooke, she was Brookie Doodle every time. My other cousin Cody was Odor. Sorry, Odor. You got the short end of the stick on that one. But there may have been a reason for that. My friends in high school, we had Deister and Lizard. Lizard might have got the short end of the stick too. My son Finn, she called Ninny. And she'd be on the sidelines of his lacrosse games yelling, "Go Ninny," at the top of her lungs. My daughter Rue has a few nicknames. Roosty, Rooster, Busty. Even my boyfriend has not been immune to this. His name is Landon, but my mom started calling him Leonard. And how we all do. Probably forever. The list of nicknames goes on and on. But that was one way of her saying that you were special to her, because my mom loved people. As we've been going through pictures and things at the house, we've found probably hundreds of newspaper clippings she pulled out and saved anytime any of us were mentioned for anything. She was everyone's biggest cheerleader. I remember one of our favorite things to do growing up was to go watch Uncle Tyler play baseball with the Smithfield Blue Sox, and get a Lion Cup or two. We'd always park our cars in the same spot, just outside the fence in right field, and set up blankets where the kids would play. And there was one game where someone hit a foul ball and it was coming right for us. It was coming for the cars, it was coming for the kids. And my mom jumped up and ran over, and she caught the ball with her bare hand just to make sure that it didn't hit anyone. She ended up at the hospital after that with a broken hand, but everyone was safe. My mom really loved people. I know acts of service is a love language that we're all probably familiar with, but I think they need to add another one, and it's called acts of food. My mom loved people through food. She was a 24/7 diner. We called it Katie's Kitchen. And she would make anything for anyone at the drop of a hat. I can't even count the number of times she was making late night eggs for the boys, homemade bread and jam for Finn, homemade hot fudge for Jason. By the way, we found the recipe for this in her recipe box with a giant "do not share" written on it, because it's that good. And countless batches of Christmas candy for everybody that she cared about. There was one memory that I have about food specifically. It was late, but I had a craving for tapioca. My mom made the best tapioca. It wasn't that pre-made stuff that you would go buy at the store. It was the kind that you made from scratch. And I could tell she was tired. and didn't want to really have to cook it and clean it up. But because I wanted it, she made it for me. No complaints, she just made it. And that's how she loved me. She showed up, she fed you, she made the tapioca at 10 p.m. because she loved me. My mom loved people. If you know anything about my mom, you know that she didn't have a halfway gear. She was 100% all the time. Whatever she was into, she was all the way in. It didn't matter what it was. If she loved it, she committed to it. Honestly, that's one of the things I admire most about her and something I strive to be in my life. Some of you might remember this, but about 10 years ago, my parents discovered CrossFit. And in true CrossFitter fashion, they became those people. My mom talked about it constantly. She was always challenging us to an air squat competition or seeing if she could lift more than us. The attitude was always, I'm going to beat you. She was competitive. There was one time where they invited my brother-in-law, Rick, who's a pretty thick guy, I'd say, to a class, and I'm pretty sure it was just to show off. But Rick's always been a fit guy, like I said, college basketball player, and they were doing this workout, and the story goes, my parents were crushing it. And Rick got about halfway through and ended up having to throw up in the garbage can. And they never let us forget it. Also, somewhere along the way, my dad started randomly showing up in places around the house without a shirt on, thinking he was hot stuff. That was pretty weird. But my mom was dedicated. She never half-assed anything in her life. Sorry, Dad. But ass. And CrossFit was no exception. My mom, she went all in. My mom was a huge Celine Dion fan. She didn't just like Celine Dion, she loved Celine Dion deeply for decades. I remember when we got the Celine Dion Power of Love cassette tape. She had that thing playing over and over and over for what felt like the entire 90s. With my mom singing every word at the top of her lungs. And then without fail, every time, she would turn to us and ask, do I sound like her? And our answer was always yes. Every single time. My mom wasn't a huge traveler, but we were able to take a trip to Vegas to see Celine in real life at the Coliseum. And that was a really fun trip. It was fun to watch my mom see Celine in person. I loved watching her see someone she loved so much. But my mom was all in on Celine Dion. When I was probably 6 or 7 years old, I remember riding in the car with my mom and I was asking her about how traffic lights worked. She was explaining to me how the colors change and what they meant. And I remember sitting there thinking, wow, my mom is so smart. And so then I asked her, I said, Mom, do you know everything? And her response without skipping a beat was, yes. Moms know everything. And I think I still believe that to this day. But my mom was all in on that answer. I'm going to humble brag for a second, but I promise I'm going to bring it full circle. I turned 41 this year, and I've never had a cavity. And my mom takes 100% credit for that and always will. My mom brushed our teeth for us until we were way too old to have our mom brushing our teeth. Honestly, I think if I told you how old, you'd be embarrassed for all of us. But also every night she'd get us these little pink fluoride pills that we were supposed to chew up before bed. And joke was on her because when we finally moved out of that house, and we moved to bed, we found hundreds, possibly thousands of those little pink pills me and Kaylee would have taken out of our mouth and dropped behind the headboard every single night. My mom was 100% committed to our dental health. We were a little less committed, but my mom was all in. Tyler and Terry alluded to this, but one of the things I love most about my mom was she was fun, but she was also a little bit feisty, and it was all genuine. She didn't have to try, it was just who she was. She kept things interesting, she kept you on your toes, and she never lost that spark. When my mom was in high school at Bear River High, she was a high stepper on the dance team, and she loved every minute of it. She loved it so much that she never really let it go. So all growing up, even after we were grown, every now and then she'd bust out a high stepper routine out of nowhere. Totally committed, reliving every bit of it. She loved that. My mom was fun. One of our all-time favorite stories we have told for years is about my mom and her sister Kathy. I think they were probably around 8 or 9 at the time, and they were fighting about something, you know, the way sisters do. My mom got upset, and she wound up and she punched Kathy right in the throat, right in the Adam's apple, full force. But what made this story so fun is the way that my mom told it. She told it the best. She'd stumble around, holding her neck, imitating Kathy, saying, "Mom, Mom, Katie punched me in the throat." Because she couldn't really speak after that. My mom would be laughing so hard telling that story that she was crying before she even got to the end, every single time. And that laugh is something I'll never forget. But my mom, she was a little feisty. First, my dad loved to fish. Then my mom loved to fish. And it became their thing. They'd go up to the lake and fish for hours. My dad grew up fishing, so he thought he knew a lot. But it didn't take long before my mom was better than him. I'm pretty sure she caught more fish, and they were definitely bigger. And she never let anyone forget it. It actually got to the point where she would even call up my dad's friends and tell them how big her fish were, and how she caught more than my dad just to rub it in. My mom was a little feisty. We have a lot of fun stories about fishing. One of my favorites was when I was young. We were out on my dad's boat. We were all gonna go fish. My dad got my pole all rigged up and handed it to me to cast. I really wanted to impress my parents. So I brought that thing back as far as I could and threw it as hard as I could, because I wanted it to be the best cast ever. And as it came forward, it hooked my mom right in the butt. She jumped up and she yelled. It was in there pretty good. We had to carefully dig it out. And honestly, we probably should have ended the day and probably went and got her a tetanus shot or something, but we didn't. She wanted to stay and continue fishing. My mom was tough. Just last week, my parents were up at the lake, and my dad decided he was gonna go check on something down by the boat. So he took the razor down to the lake. He thought he'd only be gone for a few minutes, so he didn't tell my mom that he was leaving. And when he got down there, you know how my dad is. He ended up running into some people, and of course he ended up chatting their ear off, and he was gone a lot longer than he expected. So when my dad got back to the cabin, my mom said, "Where have you been?" Clearly annoyed. And my dad tried to explain, and apologize. And then later that day, my mom decided to go on a walk without telling my dad. He didn't know where she went. And when she got back, he said, "Katie, where have you been?" And her response was, "How'd that feel?" My mom was a little feisty. As I've taken time to reflect on these memories about my mom, like I said, there's definitely themes that have emerged. My mom loved people, and she found lots of ways to show them. My mom went all in on everything that she did. It's who she was, and I hope that I can be even half as dedicated and as great as she was. My mom was fun and a little feisty. As I've been going through pictures and memories this week, I've also realized that my daughter is a mini Granny Katie, both in looks and personality. So we might have our hands full, but if she turns out anything like my mom, we're really lucky. There are words to express how much I'm gonna miss my mom. She's the one I called when I was having a bad day. She's the one I called when something great happened. She's the one I called to complain to, or when I needed advice. She's the one who would show up and help me with anything, no questions asked. I'm gonna miss seeing how her face would light up every time she got happy and excited. I'll miss her smile and her laugh so much. There's a huge gap in our family now, one that we won't really ever be able to fill. It's gonna take a long time to feel anything close to normal again, and it maybe never will. But I want her to know how much I love her. She was the best mom I could have asked for, and I feel so incredibly lucky that I got 41 years with her, 41 years of being loved by her, learning from her, and becoming who I am because of her. I hope she knew how much she meant to me, and I hope she knows how deeply she's loved, not just by me, but by all of us. I'm gonna miss her every single day, but I'll carry her with me in the way that I love and raise my kids, in the way that I show up for people, and in all the little things she taught me without realizing it. I love you more than I can put into words, Mom. And I'll love you and miss you forever.
When I think about my mom, I don't just think about one thing. There are so many things that make her the best mom. I think about comfort. I think about walking into the house after dance or cheer and seeing a perfectly made plate of dinner waiting for me on the stove, covered in saran wrap. I would also sit up on the kitchen counter while she cooked, watching her whip up something delicious, always letting me stick my finger in the batter. We never went hungry in her presence. Everything she made tasted like comfort, and somehow, even if she followed a recipe, she would always add her little twist to it. The dry seasoning on the table. When we would eat it, she loved to hear us say, "Mom, this is so good." And I just remember her eyes would light up and she'd smile and she'd say, "See, I told you." Kate's kitchen was comfort, it was hers, and she would never ever share a recipe, so don't ask her. I think about love. My mom showed love through taking care of people. When she came over to my house, I felt like I could relax. I knew my kids were fed and taken care of and loved. My mom was my relaxation and my safe place. The person who made everything feel okay. She always made sure that we had what we needed. And to be honest, if you needed a fork in the middle of the desert, somehow she'd have one. She could always find a way to make things happen. If she loved you fiercely. She always had my back. I recall her comforting me many times through fights with friends, boyfriend breakups, and she would just keep looking at me and repeating, "Well, they're just a bunch of wieners." I think about the little things, She was the coupon sales queen. We have found coupons from like the 1800s. I always knew when grapes were 99 cents a pound at least, because she would call and be telling me to hurry before they were gone. We loved how she believed in mentholatum, and a hot bath could cure basically anything. And not just any bath, it had to be a soft water bath. If you didn't have soft water, trust me, she knew. I always felt oddly proud when she'd come over to my house and compliment how soft our water was. Because I knew that really mattered to her. She was always willing to help me, no matter how random the request was. One day, I jokingly called her up and said, "Mom, I think we need a cat, so keep your eyes out." Hours later, she called me and said, "Found you a cat. I'll throw it in the back and bring it down." That cat was Sonic, and we've had him for about 10 years. I think about fun. Like Natalie said, my mom was everyone's biggest cheerleader, but especially mine. One of the greatest gifts has been watching her become my kids' biggest fan too. My mom and dad lived for their grandkids, and how I'll miss her cheering in stands for them. We will miss her step, touch, booty shaking dances in the kitchen. Her signature trampoline triplets bouncing from her back to her belly like she was delicate herself. The fun, flirty eye rolls she gave my dad that always made us laugh. You always knew when Grandma was around because her baby talk was unmatched. Every phone call at the grandkids started with, "What yours doing, Dan?" Or a high pitched, "It's Gammy." You would never go hungry in her presence, and honestly, I know she's going to be haunting me forever, saying, "You gotta feed those boys." My dad told us a funny story I'd like to share. Those two were headed up to the lake. And my dad looked at my mom and said, you got the key to the fifth wheel?" And I was like, "No." "Do you?" And my dad's like, "No." So they didn't have a key to get in, but there was a window that they could climb through, and that window probably wasn't very big, right? So my mom hopped up on my dad's shoulders and climbed through the window. And my mom was like, "I can't get through, you gotta push my bum." So my dad got up there, pushed her bum as hard as he could, and she peed all over. I know, I can just hear that laugh, but they got in, and she unlocked the door. She brought energy into every room, and she made life so fun. I think about my dad. She loved my dad deeply. And honestly, one of my favorite things was watching the two of them together. You'd never find Dave if that was Katie. Lately, she's been dragging him shopping with her everywhere. Costco, Al's, wherever my mom wanted to go. And when I'd call, she'd whisper, "Oh my gosh, she's so annoying. All I do is sleep all day." Well, secretly, she'd take pictures of him snoring in the passenger seat with his mouth wide open. My dad always made sure she knew she was beautiful. He called her his hot mama, gave her a slap on the butt, and embarrassed all of us with a comment like, "If the trailer's rocking, don't come knocking." My mom would roll her eyes and say, "You're gross, baby." But honestly, she loved every second. I think about being her daughter. One of my favorite memories was doing her makeup a few weeks ago. I remember teasing her that her eyebrows needed some help. She agreed to let me fix them. She just wanted to look hot for my dad. I loved making her feel pretty. I loved buying her clothes and shoes she'd never buy for herself, because she spent her whole life taking care of everyone else. For the past few days, my dad been making comments that I look and I act just like my mom. I take that as the biggest compliment. My mom really has shaped me into the woman and mother that I am today. No matter how old I get, I'll always be my mom, always. She made me feel important and heard when things were hard. I called my mom even before my own husband. We talked on the phone, and my mom would never, ever be the first one to say goodbye. Most of the time, I would have to, she was a talker, I'd have to be like, Mom, I gotta go to the bathroom, so I gotta get off. I'm honestly not sure how I'm gonna do this life without her. I will never, ever stop needing my mom. I still need my mom. I love you, Mom. Love Kaylee.
I just want to say a few things that, a few memories that I had with Katie, so. One memory that I had that, she went to my basketball game. And she drove like 2 hours to get there just for that one game, and then after that game, I said, now what? And then she said, oh. And I was like, you drove 2 hours just to see me play basketball for 40 minutes. I love you. But another thing that I loved about Katie is that she always cooked breakfast. Her French toast with her homemade sauce. Chef's kiss. You need to get that recipe down. I love Katie. And I would say the same thing. She's crazy.
Right. Like a week ago when I found out I was speaking, I went on ChatGPT and I'm like, is there like something I can take so I don't cry? And ChatGPT's like, it's okay to cry, like you need to be more in touch with your emotions. I think my wife loves to hear that. If I cry, that's why I'm trying to be more in touch with my emotions. But I have an interesting, I'm the youngest by 5 years, essentially an only child for 5 years, right? Haley moved out, I was 13, and so all the attention was on me. So I got to see my mom differently. Here we go, ChatGPT, than anybody else. I had all the attention, all the love, all the food, all the disappointments, all the eye roll, they were all on me. And I didn't realize how special that was. Until I got home from my mission. And I realized I'd been replaced by the grandkids. I was like, the first Christmas back, I'm like, what is this? Like, why do you talk about all these things and you hardly know them? That was her. So, some great things she did during my time as an only child. You know, she sacrificed her own, I guess you could say, salvation or like spiritual well-being to make sure that as soon as we stepped in the door from church, the food was ready. She skipped those last 2 hours. She didn't go. She had to prepare the meal. And I just wondered, like, how do you get this done? You know, like we were all in church for 3 hours, right? But she wasn't. She also fed my friends. We're just like a bunch of grimy kids doing who knows what, trying to stay busy in a small town. She loved feeding them. I got 50 texts that talked about that. That was awesome. It was awesome until her French toast recipe got leaked. And then the kitchen was shut down. Friends weren't allowed. And it was over. And that's how she was, right? Like she would love you until you took her French toast recipe. But like everyone said, she was your biggest fan. She was at every sporting event. I remember played a lot of baseball. My junior year, I didn't do as well as I did the year before. And I blamed my mom for a long time because she made me get my wisdom teeth out. Oh, it was spring break when we didn't have any games. And I was like, it's your fault. Like, it wasn't mine, it was yours. Like, we had to get my wisdom teeth out right now. But yeah, that was something I always blamed my mom. It was never her fault. Yeah, she wasn't normal. She went above and beyond. She spoiled us. ChatGPT said to stick your tongue to the roof of your mouth. If you're crying, it will help you stop. So I'm doing that. But yeah, she spoiled the grandkids. And I'm really happy that they had that relationship. Even if I was jealous at first. So me and my mom had this I don't know how to put it. It was like kind of I was always trying to get under her skin. That was the relationship we had. I knew, because I had all of this, like, she was always on me, she could be relentless. I made it a game. I was like, let's see, how many times I can get my mom to roll her eyes. I think the first time, my mom loved to save a buck. Like she was like straight and narrow until it was like, hey, we might save a few dollars. Like maybe we can like throw these to the side for a second. So played a ton of baseball, like I said. When I was 13, I think I just got like a flip phone with a camera. we were at a tournament in Vegas and we needed to save a buck, right? You can't stay on the strip. And so we stayed at the Hooters Hotel. It was just right off the strip, it was within walking distance, so like, I don't know what mom and dad were thinking, putting a 13-year-old in the Hooters Hotel, but we were doing something, we were I don't know what we were doing, but there was this like yield sign and it said speed bumps. And like you can fill in the rest for the Hooters Hotel, like what are the speed bumps? And so I was like, well, 13-year-old, I took my flip phone out and I took a picture and I looked over and my mom was looking at me. And I think it was the first time I remembered like that's the eye roll. Like she's like, who is this kid? Like, what have I done wrong? Like, why is he taking a picture of this in the Hooters Hotel? And so I made it a point to pick up like cards off the strip and sneak them into her purse. So I got a lot of eye rolls and I loved it. And I don't think that stopped, and it never stopped. A lot of the things I did them because I knew it bothered my mom. She needed to have more fun. She needed to worry about herself, and so like, I have a list of things that I can go through that for sure got eye rolled. Every vacation we'd go on, she would show up with like a cooler. We call it her emotional support cooler, and I made it a point to like buy food. I would just like go out and like get some tacos, like here's some pastries, and she's like, what are you doing? Why are you spending this money? We've got all this food here. I think that's one of them. Every time I got in a razor, I would peel out and kick up gravel because I just knew my mom. It made my mom so mad. I knew there was an eye roll behind me. I'd send her pictures of my bloody shins from mountain biking, just knowing that it would worry her. So the eye rolls never stopped. But that was what we had. It was a fun relationship. Yeah, I loved getting under her skin and I loved hiding things from her. To this day, I recently got a new job, and it's this whole saga with my last job. I was just unhappy for so long, but couldn't find anything better. And my mom would ask and ask and ask. And I just got like so sick of telling her about interviews or jobs that didn't go through, so I just stopped telling her. I'd catch her whispering to London in the kitchen as I was gone, and we knew they were talking about it. I'd come in and she'd pretend she was like washing dishes, walk around, and she just cared so much. She hated not being able to know things, but that was what we had. It was a fun, playful relationship. I loved getting the eye rolls. Sometimes me and my dad would make crude jokes and just wait for my mom to react, just like what's she gonna say this time. But she was fun, and she was always fun. And these last 4 years have been great with her. FaceTime, just spending so much time with her, and sometimes I think, are we spending too much time with my mom? Like, I know this can be easy for my wife to spend this much time with her mother-in-law, but London's been amazing, and I'm so glad I had these last 4 years with her. And I think my mom cares more than anyone else. She treated everything she had like gold. It didn't matter what it was. My mom and dad bought these bikes, and she like didn't want water to touch them because she thought it would ruin the battery. She would call me 3 times a week and ask me to pump up the tires. My sister took the bike out and rode up Birch, and she told me not to use the brakes because she didn't want them to wear out. It was she loved her stuff, and like she hardly ever did anything for herself. And so again, my wife being as awesome as she is, we got this pizza oven and we like invited everyone over and showed my mom, and she was so happy. And she went out and she bought one. And I was like, whoa, like you bought a pizza oven, like this is huge. You've never bought anything for herself, like for yourself. And I come to find out she like it was already on sale, and she went to like the Blackstone warehouse and asked for an extra discount. She got it, but she had it, and I was so happy she was starting to do those things. She cared, and she always sacrificed for others. I think one thing about my mom is she could appear harsh. sometimes she wasn't the most welcoming, or like she acted like she wasn't. I got a dog, I was going through like a rough patch and I get this puppy. And my mom, first thing she did, she's like, you can't leave this thing here, like, I'm not gonna take care of it as you go and like travel, I love to travel, and she hated that I love to travel, cause I was spending money and always gone, but like. I get this dog and I'm like, okay, for sure, can't leave it here. And like, don't bring it in the house, like, don't let it get on the furniture, it's just a little puppy, and. She would complain every time I brought it, she would complain when I asked her to watch it, but like. We'd catch her like outside by herself, like baby talking to the dog, giving it pets, making sure that my dog had like something to eat and had water, like that's just who she was. She could pretend like she was hard on the outside, but she was marshmallow. She was so soft on the inside. I knew she disapproved of all these things I did, but she really did. She was always in my corner, and she always cared, and she always. Back me up. Like I said, she hated my trips to Europe, and I'm not like 100, you know. But she loved the chocolate I brought her. And she secretly loved all the things that I was doing. And I think it's really special she got to see me become a father, because she would always be like, I don't know, like if you're up for it. Like you might want to chill, but like I think London has helped like ease her stress and and it's been really good. Let's see, I got other stuff. But maybe I've shared too many stories about her. But I think the theme of my entire mom's life was service. I don't know if she ever did anything for herself. And I think that's she went out serving. And I think that's awesome. She didn't live nearly long enough. But I think if you look at her life in like terms of years served, I think she's lived longer than anyone I know. Because from the moment she woke up, if she slept, because all night she would worry about his kids or grandkids. Like from the moment she woke up till the moment she like went to sleep, she was taking care of my dad. She was making sure that the crew had his stuff. She was making sure that she was getting details from London about my job interview. She was making sure that the neighbor was taken care of. Like she lived a long life in terms of service. And I think that's something we can all take from her. Everything she did was about us, her grandkids, my dad. So we're gonna miss her, but we love her. And one last thing, I hope they have coupons and gift cards in heaven, because if they don't, she's gonna be really sad. That's what she loved the most. We tried and tried and tried. We started getting her gifts that she couldn't return, because she would return everything we got her and then spend it on us. Unless it was a gift card to Mobedas, even though their portions have gone down. She was great. We're gonna miss her, and thank you. I mean, we're all gonna miss Kitty a lot. And this week I've been focusing on some memories I've had of her. And try not to like think about the memories I could have had with her, because that was my main problem. When she passed away, I was thinking, wow, I should have spent way more time with her and like tried making more memories. But I think we should all just cherish the memories that we did make with her instead of thinking about the ones we could have made. So I'd just like to share a few memories that I had with her and just tell you all about her, because she's a great person. And yeah, one of my favorites is every year for Christmas, she'd get us all the grandkids a matching set of pajamas and a blanket with our name on it. And one year she ordered all the blankets, and when they arrived, they were really tiny, about the size of like a cloth towel. So, I mean, that was just pretty funny. So we all just laughed it off, and it it still felt special because it was just like Jason said, it's just like service. She always gave everything to us, always had to make sure we were fed. And yeah, I just love that memory. Another thing I'll never forget is her homemade bread and jam. I love it. I mean, I could probably eat it for like breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, dessert, anytime. But yeah, I don't think I'll. Like, every time I eat it, I just think about her, and it makes me just remember all the times I had with her. And I think we need to. I think I'll have my mom carry on the recipe. I'll try and eat it every day. It's really good. And Katie was our biggest supporter. I loved when she came to my mountain bike races, my lacrosse games, and I would always hear her yelling, "Let's go, Nitty," like my mom said, and always embarrassed me in front of my team when she said it. But I mean, deep down, I love it when she says it, and it's just something special that she has with me. And um, I know she'll keep watching all of the grandkids' games from heaven. She never missed one. And we're just gonna miss her a lot. Like she's gonna do, I don't know how she's gonna do it, but she's gonna keep providing for us, even from heaven. And we'll just try to do our best and carry that on. Say it's in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
You know, it's hard to put into words how much I love my granny. Yeah, I was so close to you. She's so special to me. I have a few stories I want to ask. First off, Granny, she's my biggest fan, man. She never missed a baseball game. She'd drive like 2.5 hours. I can't even believe how she would do that, honestly. Every weekend, just come watch me play. She loved the grandkids. You know, whenever I would get a hit or make a basket or just make a good play, I'd always see her just in the same spot, you know, in her chair, next cramping the bleachers or in the outfield. She's always in these spots, just giving me a smile, just yelling. She'd always tell me that, you know, pop-ups kill you. Like it's just the worst thing you can do. Honestly, it's the worst way to get out while playing baseball. She'd always just say, you know, hit line drives, just line drives crew, you're doing great. You know, I still know that my granny, she's never gonna miss any of my games. She's never gonna miss anything in my life, and I'm just so grateful for that. But as you guys have all heard, my grandma's awesome at making food. I feel kind of bad. I asked her a lot to make me food, and every single time she made me what I wanted exactly. It was perfect. You know, she'd always ask me, she'd be like, "Chris, you eating anything today?" I'd be like, "No, Granny, I haven't yet. I'm starving. I'm so hungry." And she'd always fix me up. You know, I never knew an egg could be cooked in like 1,000 ways, and she cooks that egg every time. I'd always have before my baseball games or just sometimes even at like the middle of the day when nothing's going on. I'd be like, "Hey Granny, make me an egg. I want avocados, toast, and ketchup. And I want like 8 of them. And I would eat all of them every time." You know, my crappy every time you just see him on the couch, just looking at me, just smiling, because I know that he loved me so much, and he'd always be like, "Kate's kitchen's open." And it was open. I really think she should have owned a restaurant called Kate's Kitchen because her food was really that good. Another thing me and my grandma did a lot was every night, especially during baseball tournaments, I'd get next to her and she would scratch my back. We would put the news on. She wanted me to, I don't know, she loved the news. She knew what the weather was every day. She'd be like, it's gonna be cold today, or you need to wear a jacket. I'm like, I'm fine. Yeah, she'd always say this, she'd be like, why, right when I'm about to play baseball or like in between games, she's like, it's getting kind of chilly. And I'm just like, yeah, Grammy, I know. I felt kind of bad because I would literally like lay on her lap, just stomach down, she'd just be scratching my back. Just my whole back. She'd always talk about like Trump or something, just like politics and stuff. I thought it was pretty interesting. I cherish this because we would just talk and just be awesome. You know, Granny, I love you so much. Could never ask for a better grandma. You are my biggest fan. I know you'll never miss a game. I always remember Kate's kitchen, and you always be in my heart. I have a testimony that families can be together forever. I know that God has a plan for us. And no, I don't know how bad this hurts, but I know I'm going to see my grandma again. I say this in Jesus Christ, amen.
Sure, or any more grandkids would like to share in the rest of so what I've kind of taken away from this is fun, full throttle, fierce, frugal. Just don't share a French toast recipe. Katie was loved by so many. One of my memories living here is always seeing Dave and Katie together and smiling and enjoying their companionship together. In the mornings after Katie passed, I spent time up Birch Canyon, and that happens to be where I would see Katie and Dave on some of their long walks, always side by side. And I can still picture her and her smile when I'm walking in that beautiful place, even this morning, in fact, and the sun shining, and you can hear the birds, and it's just beautiful and peaceful. And in those times when I was kind of reflecting there a little bit, some thoughts and impressions came to me. And when I got home, I recorded those and put them to paper. Katie was loved. The passing of someone loved by so many and who loved so many, like Katie did, especially when it comes unexpectedly, brings real grief. It is right that we feel sorrow. It is right that we miss them. It is right that our hearts ache because love is real and separation from those we love is painful. At times like this, we are reminded that our mortal plans can change suddenly due to circumstances beyond our control. The plans we had made, the conversations we expected, the time we thought we still had, these can change in ways we do not understand. However, while our mortal plans can change, God's eternal plan does not. Like Crew said, his plan is a plan of mercy, redemption, and reunion. Because of God's plan, family relationships are not meant to end at death. Because of Jesus Christ, the grave is not the end, and separation is not permanent. Gray clouds may roll into our lives for a time and temporarily alter the day, but we know the sun still shines high above it all. God's plan will not be frustrated. Weeping may endure for a night, but because of our Savior, joy cometh in the morning. I do not pretend that this knowledge removes the sorrow experienced today. It does provide strength, peace, and hope. God's plan tells us that love continues. It tells us that life continues. It tells us that through Jesus Christ, we will see our loved ones again. Jesus Christ made God's plan possible. Because he lived, died, and rose again, we too will live again. And because of him, our cherished family relationships can be restored, healed, and made eternal. In that sacred hope, may we find comfort today and in the days ahead. We will close this beautiful service and tribute to Katie Oliverson by singing in 165, Abide with Me is one time. After that song, the benediction will be offered by Ricky Shaw. After the benediction, I will ask the congregation to stand as we allow the family to thank him. Father, we bow our heads and thank thee for this special time we've had to celebrate your mom and wife and sister, grandmother, and friend. King. We're so grateful for her and grateful for the impact she's had in our lives, and we pray that will let her touch us daily, and that we can, when she's near us, that we can remember all these special moments that we've had for her, of which we are very grateful. We're so grateful for our Savior and for the plan of salvation, and the knowledge that we have to know that we will be with her forever, and that this love that we have is eternal. And we're so grateful for families. This blessed day, help us to be conscious of Him and always be taking care of Him as King always did. And bless your children and grandchildren. And we leave these things with thee in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.